Hi everyone. I am Anish, the founder of National Law Training Institute. Welcome to our official YouTube channel. Today we have a very special guest amongst us. We have Siddhi Laddha, who got a very impressive All India rank of 22 in CLAT 2025. Siddhi, straight getting to the point, tell us a little about yourself. Which team did you opt for in your 11th and 12th? How long have you been preparing for CLAT? And what was this entire CLAT and AILET journey for you like?
So I started prepping in the 11th grade. So I always knew that I wanted to do law. So commerce was the perfect option for me, not science, not arts. Um, and I started prepping in 11th grade, like I said. So 2 years of my prep has been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of surprises thrown at me. But I think at the end, it's worth it.
Right. Siddhi, so when you were writing this year's CLAT paper, what was going in your head? Like this year's paper was like on the lines of last year's paper, but again, there were some distinguishing factors like the AR said the maths was a bit on the difficult side. Then how did you keep your calm and composure while writing the paper? And were you confident after writing it that yes, you'll be able to get a good college?
There's a little funny story about that because right after CLAT, I thought that I'm not even going to get an NLU. I thought that I had to settle for Jindal. It was that bad. I think the I had made three silly mistakes in my paper, which is what ruined the whole paper for me because I thought three silly mistakes was just 3.75 marks. That's going to change my whole
Right.
rank. So
Yeah.
fortunately, that worked in my favor. But otherwise, the AR set, I realized I was pretty good at AR. Like math and AR were my strong points. So when I
Right.
didn't get it, then nobody else was going to get it. I gave it two tries, and I mean that was enough time for me to understand that the set itself is wrong. And even previously, CLAT has given us wrong questions, wrong sets. So it was very likely that it was a wrong question,
Right.
which actually incentivized me to move on. And obviously, I was a little upset because -6 or -4, whatever it was, -4 would be for everybody, so our score would drop. But that wasn't running
Yeah.
in my head in the paper, so it was fine. And luckily, I do math at the end. Math was my strategy allowed me to do math at the end, so that did not affect me.
Right.
Not that did not affect my other sections, so it was pretty good that way.
So, what was your sequence, if you don't mind telling? What strategy and sequence did you follow in CLAT?
So I did English first. Then I went to GK as a break between my English and logic. So I did English, GK, logic, one set of math, then legal, and then the other set of math. So
Achha.
the first set of math
Okay.
that I did was the easier one. So it
Yeah,
worked
yeah,
in. Yeah, yeah.
definitely. Yeah. So, Siddhi, since you've been preparing for quite some time, what was your reaction and your parents and everybody at home reaction when they saw that you have gotten such a good rank and you'll be joining the number one law school of the country?
First of all, everyone was relieved. They were surprised. Surprised was the first reaction, and it was everything all together. Surprised, elated,
Yeah.
and astonished for one. But
Hmm.
in the end, we were all really happy that it's we've achieved what we wanted to, what we set out to do, and the dream is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we are very, even the entire team at NLTI was rooting for you because we had already known this in the back of our minds that Siddhi will be one of the toppers this year. And we were just relieved, as you said, and again, very happy and surprised that, yeah, you got a great rank of 22. So, Siddhi, coming to NLTI's contribution, you joined NLTI in June, around June, and then we were a part of your preparation for the substantial 6 months, in the last 6 months of your preparation. So how do you think NLTI contributed to your prep, and what difference did we make in you getting this brilliant rank?
So there were quite a few factors that actually helped me get a get the rank that I did get, and
Yeah,
90% of them were drawn from NLTI. First of all, I had a study group, which was really helpful in all of my preparation. I think you yourself had created a study
yeah,
group for me because I wasn't studying on my own. So
yeah,
after that, I had another study group also, but all these study groups were from NLTI because that was my student engagement platform. So the
right,
study group helped me a lot. And secondly, the main channel that we have where we can send our doubts, and we have a really nice doubt
yeah,
solving person. So I think that was really helpful because we knew that if we have an issue with anything, there is somebody who's been through the same thing that we are doing who's there to help us. So it's pretty good that
yeah.
way. Yeah.
So how were the sessions with Ashutosh? If I'm not wrong, Ashutosh was your mentor, right? Yeah,
He's one of the most approachable, the most reliable people that you can. I remember we used to get messages from him in the middle of the night saying that if you all want to rant about anything, every alternate
yeah,
day, in fact, before CLAT, we used to get a message. he's just comforting us and letting us know that it's going to be okay, irrespective of whatever it is, and we can just call him whenever, and he's going to be there. He's going to have time for us, and we can just rant, vent, whatever it is. So I mean, he was one of
Yeah,
the best mentors I could have asked for. Yeah.
right. So, Siddhi, how do you plan on spending the next 6 months before you join NLS in July 25?
That's a question that I've been thinking about the answer for like a really long time. But since 11th grade, I kind of like paused my life. I'd not done what I wanted to since really long. My hobbies were
Yeah.
kept. So probably just pursuing all of them and having a good break before I start with a rigorous NLS life.
Definitely, yeah. So coming to the academic part of CLAT, I'm pretty sure most of the aspirants would want to know what your strategy and your sources were for different sections. So why don't you take us through your preparation for each of the five sections, starting with English? Like, what was your primary source to cover English, RC passages, and then how did you manage your time? How many sectionals did you take? How many mocks did you give? All these things, if you can take us through like very quickly.
Okay, so English, since that was the first section that I did attempt, English was usually pretty good for me. It was easy compared to the other sections because I didn't need prior knowledge. It was basic comprehension. And I was
Yeah.
lucky that my fundamentals were good. So figures of speech, grammar, etc. was quite decent for me. I think one issue that I did have was vocabulary in some of the mocks. So it was mock to mock, but vocabulary was where I
Okay.
usually made mistakes. So I think we were referred to a few books for vocabulary, and with constant reading, with the more mocks I gave, the better I got at it as well. So the more reading that I did, the more diverse reading that I did, English was never an issue. So
So what were
that's my
the sources for diverse readings?
So first of all, newspapers, editorials, and secondly, I
Yeah.
think mocks are my biggest sources. Everyone asked me to like go to AN essays and different websites, but when I used to give a mock every alternate day, so that was a very good amount of reading for me to do. So English,
Yeah.
logic both have a lot of various genres covered, which is what essentially
Yeah.
proved that I was, yeah.
Right. We'll move on to GK next. GK is the most dreaded section, but for the past 2 years, everything's been coming out of the passages. But still, we can't be sure how CLAT 26 will be like. So, still, if one has to prepare for GK, how should they? What should be the sources, and how should we go about GK for the next CLAT?
In fact, if I'm talking about GK, it was one of my like the thing I prepped for day and night, and the thing I was still very unsure about. But I don't think others should follow this because I've heard it works negatively for others. But I got a lot
Okay.
of FOMO, so I had FOMO if I wasn't covering a source that my friends were covering, which I know is bad, but I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
So I used to go through everything. I used to prune out the topics, and if the topic was done in detail in a particular compendium, etc., then I wouldn't deal with it, but otherwise, I'd make sure to go through all the topics because I think the 2023 CLAT paper, they asked topics out of nowhere. They weren't like mainstream
Yeah.
topics, which is why I wanted
Yeah.
to ensure I wouldn't lose marks or something like that. And another thing that I did was the daily newspaper analysis. So I'd read the newspaper on my own, but the factual analysis, instead of going on the UPSC websites and doing it on my own, I think a lot of academies create these videos
Yeah.
where they analyze the newspapers itself. So that was really helpful for me. Another thing
Right.
that actually helped me a lot was the way I revised my GK. I'm sure everyone has their own way, but what I did was I had written notes. So from my notes, I used to record whatever I'd written. So I was reading, I was speaking, and later when I did have to revise, I just hear what I had said and read it in front of me. So it was a lot of active learning, which helped me with my revision.
Right.
That's
Yeah, I
more.
think that's a great piece of advice that aspirants will definitely uh, get help from. Uh, one more thing that people want to know is, did you make handwritten notes or did you prefer digital notes? Because this is a question that students right now will be plagued with, because right now they'll be starting their GK prep and they would want to know whether handwritten notes are preferred over digital notes or vice versa.
So I did handwritten notes because for me retention was a very important thing because my notes were vast, so I had to remember everything.
Hmm.
The only issue with digital notes to me was that there is a chance I will not go to the place again and study from it. But if it's in a book, I know I'm going to study it. But I know a lot of
Right.
friends have digital notes, and the only problem that they had with handwritten notes is that if I've written something on my second page, I wouldn't know where my that particular topic is. So to locate the topic in handwritten notes is a task. But what I did was I had an Excel sheet where I had my index. So I just look at whatever topic and
Okay.
I locate it. So it was pretty good for me. Handwritten was what I preferred.
All right. Siddhi, we'll move on to the legal section now. Again, there's one question that students want to ask is whether you focused on theory bit, like doing consti, tort, crime, contract, or did you focus more on current legal knowledge, solving passages, reading on bar and bench live and live law, and all other websites like these? So, what was your strategy like for legal?
So, like I said, I started preparation in the 11th grade. So,
Yeah,
I had studied the theory essentially everything I'd done, contracts, torts, criminal. I'd known the basics of it. So, during mocks, obviously, it helped me. But in a lot of mocks, they'd ask us contemporary legal affairs, which is why
yeah,
the GK preparation also really helped. Because since my preparation was in depth, my GK preparation was in depth, so it helped me a lot during the legal passages as well, because I didn't have to read the passage to know what the law was or what the bill suggested was. So
right.
GK I think is really helpful while doing legal, and obviously live law, bar and bench are the two go sources for contemporary legal affairs.
Right. What was the strategy for CR? Because CR again is one of the most dreadful sections for people. Again, did you cover your basics like assumption, negation technique? What is the difference between inference, conclusion, or did you focus more on solving questions? Because that is also that should also form a major chunk of preparation, just solving questions and analyzing it. So, what was your strategy like?
So again, because I started in the 11th grade, the basics I
Yeah,
covered first. I knew what assumption, what inference, what conclusion, etc. was, and the primary difference between them. And with that came the practice. So I had practiced AILET type questions or GMAT type questions to get my basics clear instead of big paras altogether. And then
right,
as I on to mocks, I think logic was my weakest section in the beginning. But then as I kept practicing mocks and I kept understanding the drafters' thought process and their analysis, I think my logic did get better. Yeah, logic was a decent subject at the end.
right. What piece of advice would you give to aspirants who are still fearing CR section and they are still wondering whether they'll be able to crack the funda of CR or not?
I think everyone who I've spoken to, even I have a lot of friends who did get into NLS. So all of
Yeah,
them, the section for them in the preparation was CR. So I don't think any of the aspirants should be worried that they are the only ones who are doing bad at CR. CR is bad in the beginning for everybody, but even if you
yeah,
look at the CLAT papers, the previous papers, it's not like it's out of the blue or it's rocket science. The CR, it's logical. Sometimes the mocks make it difficult for us to think in a particular way, but I don't think that should scare you. And as you practice more and more, your CR is bound to get better. So
yeah.
shouldn't be.
Coming to the last section, Siddhi, the quantitative technique section, were you strong at this inherently, or did you develop this habit of actually getting a good score in QT after by working hard? Because some people are inherently smart in QT and they just have that instinct that that we'll be able to solve maths, but some others are not. So, what was your strategy like for QT?
So, I mean, math was my favorite subject since childhood. So, I was good at
Okay.
math in general.
Hmm.
But what I realized is that I wouldn't target math. Like, I stopped focusing on math because I thought I was good at it. So, I didn't feel the need to focus on math. But then that's when my score started dropping because I'd forgotten a few concepts and a few formulas, etc. For mensuration, especially, I'd forgotten my formulas and I had to use my logic in the paper to come up with the formulas. So,
Right.
that's realized that my overconfidence was actually working to my demise, which is why I started practicing math again. And I think the continuous math preparation, even if you're good at math, solving the math fast, CLAT math and school math is pretty different. So I think the tricks, the conversions, etc., that we were taught, they really helped me with the math.
Right. Thank you for that, Siddhi. Just one last question before we wrap this up. So students again have a doubt with respect to number of mocks that they should give. Like, abhi they'll be starting their preparation, let's say in January, and then they have whole 12 months to go for about the preparation. So how many mocks should they give? How should they pace out their mocks? Let's say starting with one mock a week, and then coming to like towards the end in October and November, giving at least three mocks a week. How do you think they should pace their attempts, like the number of attempts of mocks? And again, how should they go about attempting mocks right now? Because they'll not be able to score as much marks as they would want to right now. So how should they take these mocks right now?
So it depends actually on when you started your prep. Since I started my prep in 11th grade, I constantly wanted to give mocks and see where I stand in 11th grade itself. So if they are
Right,
starting in 12th grade, I think they can wait till June or July to like work on their fundamentals, to work on their basics, and then they can start giving mocks religiously, and maybe just one mock, like you said, per week. till then. But if they've started earlier, I don't think there should be an issue in 2 mocks per week, and then gradually pacing up to 3 mocks a week, and then maybe every day. Then you
Yeah.
pace down again during before the exam. So I had paced down during September, October. I was giving really less mocks, and then November I got up again because I needed to get used to the pattern again
Mm-hmm.
before the exam. So
Right.
it just depends on how your preparation lies, and I'm sure that every aspirant will figure for themselves if their scores are dropping. They work on their fundamentals first, and then they come back to mocks. And maybe analysis also of the mocks continuously helps a lot.
Right.
So they'll realize themselves. Yeah.
So do you think this will be a good strategy if someone is starting their preparation right now, that they can start with their preparation, they can cover their fundamentals while also appearing for one mock a week, let's say, simultaneously, to at least know where they're standing right now?
Absolutely, because that teaches you whether you're actually applying your fundamentals correctly. So
Right,
mocks
right, right. Absolutely.
are
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think that's it from this interview, Siddhi. We congratulate you again for your brilliant achievement. Everyone at NLTI is extremely proud of you, and we really look forward to having you at NLS in July as our junior. So see you till then. All the best. Let us know how we can help you till then if you need any help. And we love to onboard you as a mentor at NLTI if that is something that interests you for the next 6 months. So that's it. If you want to say any last few words to the aspirants, that would be great. Otherwise, we can wrap it up.
I think just one piece of advice that I'd like to give is not to undermine yourself during the preparation, because there's a stage in everyone's preparation where your scores just drop drastically, however good you may be. So, for example, I was continuously in 95 plus, and then I directly dropped to upper 80s or 90, lower 90s, which was a big shocker to me because my rank also dropped. So, basically, not to undermine yourself and to know that you will get back to where you stand. That's the most
Right,
important. You should, yeah, yeah.
right,
That's all.
right. Thank you so much, Siddhi, for that. Thank you. Look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing you. Bye bye.
Bye.